not attempt to adjust your dial. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum. It's your boy Big Vern. This is App Stupid, the fastest growing sports and entertainment show on these YouTube streets. You're welcome. Holla at us. Holla at us. Keep hollering at us. It's your boy Big Vern. Subscribe and like the channel. When we last left off, we talked about Georgia, me not being really impressed with the Georgia offense. Me being let down by Clemson. Why was Clemson ranked so high? That made no sense to me whatsoever. And another game that made no sense to me was Texas A&M versus Notre Dame. That was the night game. Now, everybody had Texas A&M beating Notre Dame, and I'm sitting here saying, wait a minute. The punditry and the talking heads and legacy media, they were saying that Mike Elko and his boys, and this is the offensive line, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I didn't buy it. I did not buy it whatsoever. The fact that we can't even be honest about really Mike Elko, and this is not anything against him. It's not a knock against his coaching or an indictment on the culture at Texas A&M. But if we're going to be honest about something, that game last night wasn't blockbuster. And I know they sold out. They had the 12th man going there. The stadium was rocking. Everything seemed like it was all over the place. But Marcus Freeman, credit to him, he was able to keep his guys focused. He was able to keep them engaged. And even though the run didn't work for Notre Dame offhand, they were able to make the field goals and keep it close going into that third quarter and then the fourth quarter. But from what I saw, and this is just me, Texas got punked in Texas last night. Yes, Texas A&M got punked in Texas last night. They went from stopping the run to getting gashed to getting burned. And then the targeting penalty when the quarterback from Notre Dame takes a slide and a guy tries to go ahead and come straight at him at his head, it was like, really? Now, that was the first quarter. And I know you want to go ahead and get in your opponent's head. You want to go ahead and shake up the quarterback. That did none of that for me. That did none of that for me. And when I look at Mike Elko, I'm saying this man made Duke coherent. And Duke football was just a talked about thing. But if we're going to go back not too long ago in the distant past, that same Duke team got beat by Louisville. And I know people won't give Louisville the credit that they deserve, but they beat them. Mike Elko was able to beat Clemson with Duke. He was able to beat Clemson with Duke. We've seen what kind of abject failure Clemson can be. People have hope. You're hoping against hope. You saw everything you needed to see against Georgia. And it's going to be tough sledding for them in the ACC. Florida State is pretty much done in the ACC. If I'm looking at week one and I'm not holding myself to be a prisoner of the moment, the two best teams in the ACC seem to be Louisville and Miami. And they play each other, and they could very well play each other again in the ACC championship game. Mike Elko never made it to the ACC championship game. These are facts. So when it came to everybody making these informed decisions, go look it up. On the betting lines and the spreads, they were supposed to beat Notre Dame. And they had people second guessing themselves, the Golden Domers. Some of them not faithful. Some of them are not the true believers. But they had Notre Dame second guessing themselves, saying, well, maybe we can't win. And then look at our schedule. It's not the toughest. Marcus Freeman, credit to him. Now, we went over Notre Dame's schedule. We told you everybody he was bringing in. We told you he brought back the original play caller from the early 2000s to be up in the booth. Notre Dame has a really good defense. They have a really good lights out defense. Now, the quarterback, I was not impressed. I'll be honest. That guy throwing behind guys inside the 20, overthrowing guys. It his scrambling ability is what really broke that game up. The fact that he was able to move in the pocket, and then when coverage broke down or there was nobody open, he was able not to force it with his arm, but extended with his legs. That was the difference in that game. But as far as him completing passes, ooh, no. And then their highly touted transfer that came into the program, once he broke for that touchdown, I was just like, yeah, that's it. And then Texas A&M, they were able to come back and score, but it was with the help of many penalties. And we'll talk about the play call. Well, we already talked about the play calling. We can talk about the referee and all of the officiating because it was atrocious. This is Big Vern at App Still in the Drop. Yes. Taco Bell, Live Moss. Order online, download the app, or visit the good folks at your local Taco Bell. Taco Bell, Live Moss. So when we last left off, we were talking about the officiating for this game. This game was one of the worst officiating games that I had ever seen. Every time the Irish seemed to get something going, it was a hold penalty here, a hold penalty there. And when it was an obvious hold in the face of the back judge, when it was Texas A&M marching the opposite way, you even saw the offensive lineman, I think it was number 75, he threw his hands up like, are you serious? Are you serious? They'd break a run, somehow it'd get called back. And then I could get the first game jitters because, yes, you are playing in Texas A&M. That place is going crazy. The stadium is rocking. And so what you saw was a bunch of guys jump off sides. Again, that you can attribute that to nerves, guys settling in. But credit to Marcus Freeman for settling them down, going into halftime, saying, hey, look, we still got a lot of game going. And then they were able to break that thing open in the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, they were able to put it on ice. Now, Texas A&M, they don't have a quarterback. And I'm sorry to tell you this. You don't have a quarterback. And by any stretch of the imagination, nobody was talking about Notre Dame winning that game more than me. You can go back on our page and say so. Everybody else wanted to talk about this vaunted defense, this crazy offensive line. They got this running back and that running back. Is not the case. That guy can't read defenses. That was his second interception. He was looking a man down. He went ahead and threw, no matter what the defense was actually preventing in a spy move, he throws the ball in a just a small slant route because he was good at doing that. Throwing the slant route, and then a guy jumps the passing lane. Then it's all over with. It's all over with. When he did catch guys open, it was high in space. It just looked bad. And if you're saying, okay, where do you go now in the SEC, the new SEC, and win? I don't think Texas A&M can beat Ole Miss. I know they can't beat Georgia. They can't beat Alabama. Good luck against Oklahoma. They can't beat Tennessee. They can't beat Kentucky. So if this is one of those teams that you had propped up to make it into that college playoff, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Who do you blame? Who do you blame? Because again, when the people keep throwing these names around, look what they've done. Look where they've been. I'm one of the ones who thought Mike Elko should have stayed at Duke. He would have been coach for life. There's no pressure. They just fired Jimbo Fisher for having the top-rated recruitment classes and recruitment to that university, and he couldn't get it done. You have the NIL, you've got all of these scouts, you've got this apparatus recruiting machine, and you get beat up and punked in Texas 23-13. They only gave Notre Dame a small puncher's chance of winning that game. The line was like three points. But the Texas A&M offense is pathetic. When Notre Dame scored on that breakaway run, to answer that run with another score from Texas A&M, they got there through penalties. Had that game been played anywhere else, this game wouldn't have been that close. And the fans, the Aggies, they know it just like I know it. Can Mike Elko turn this thing around? He has to. He has to. As for the Golden Thermals, right now, they've got 2 more games on the schedule. I said those are games you want to watch. Louisville versus Notre Dame is box office. The way Jeff Brom put on a display yesterday, them in South Bend, if Louisville goes undefeated going right into South Bend and Notre Dame is undefeated, somebody's O has to go. Louisville already struck first. They beat Notre Dame in Louisville last year. This year, this game is in South Bend. This could be one of those make or break games. Does it disqualify Notre Dame from getting into the college playoff? No. Because I know Notre Dame's going to go ahead and have at least a 9 to 10 win season. The USC game at the end of the year, that's going to be a good one for them. But if they're going to have a strength of schedule, Louisville is going to be their strength of schedule. That's going to propel them. So, yeah, I don't know. I didn't see any separation with the SEC and these other schools. To me, every game was 50-50. If I'm being honest, every game was 50-50. And I know you'll have the conventional wisdom. People will get out here and say, oh, well, they didn't want to show everything. They didn't have a good opponent and they have a better opponent next week. Come on now, that's loser talk. If I'm a coach, I go out there to leave it all on the field. If I got new looks, new wrinkles in the offense, so what? It's up to you to stop me. You just gotta stop with this boogeyman. They're gonna do this and that. Not gonna do a damn thing, but get out there and get their feelings hurt. So, A&M faithful, where do you go from here? Is the Mike Elko, is this buyer's remorse? Do you feel like you're getting your money's worth? I definitely don't. But let me hear from you. This is Big Vern at App Stupid.